The movie opens with a space shuttle crashing in the United States, causing widespread devastation. People are afraid to touch the debris due to contamination fears. Dr. Kaufman, the head of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, investigates the incident and falls ill. Strange cellular condensation forms on his face while he sleeps. Meanwhile, Kaufman's son Oliver, who lives with his ex-wife Carol, has a nightmare and becomes disturbed. Carol, who is a psychiatrist, comforts Oliver and gives him his medication before they both go to sleep. The next morning, Carol receives a call from Kaufman demanding custody of Oliver, but she refuses. She drops Oliver off at school and meets her friend Dr. Ben Driscoll, who informs her about scientists resigning due to suspicions about the catastrophe. Carol shares her concerns about Kaufman wanting custody of their son, but Ben believes Kaufman has the right to meet Oliver. Ben drops Carol off at her office, reminding her of a dinner party the following day. At her office, Carol meets with a patient named Wendy, who tells her about her husband Richard's strange behavior. Richard killed their dog without remorse when it detected something unusual. Carol prescribes medication for Wendy but is disturbed by the story. On Halloween evening, Carol and her friend Pam take their children trick-or-treating. They encounter a house where the family dog barks incessantly, and it suddenly attacks Andy, one of the children. Surprisingly, Andy remains unharmed, even though there are blood markings on his neck. Carol discusses Andy's behavior with Pam, who confirms that he has been acting strangely. Carol discovers an unusual piece of flesh on Oliver's palm and takes it to Dr. Ben's hospital for examination. Meanwhile, Kaufman describes a life-threatening flu virus during a conference and proposes an intervention program. Unbeknownst to the scientists, infected waiters at the conference spit into their teacups before serving them. The next day, Richard visits Carol's office asking about Wendy. Carol tries to call Wendy but speaks to Richard, who says she's asleep. Concerned, Carol conducts an internet search and finds similar incidents reported by others. She notices strange behavior in her assistant Carly and refuses the tea Carly offers. Carol receives a call from Ben, informing her that Dr. Stephen has completed the examination of the skin patch sample. Carol visits the lab, where Dr. Stephen explains that the sample contains a spore that alters the genetic code and causes people to act strangely when they sleep. Ludmila, the wife of a Czech diplomat, calls Ben to inform him about the unusual behavior of a Russian diplomat named Yorish. Carol and Ben rush to the Bulishik's house and find Yorish asleep with cellular condensation. Yorish wakes up and attacks Carol but is killed by Ben. Meanwhile, Carol visits Kaufman's office to pick up Oliver but realizes that Kaufman and his co-workers are acting strangely. Kaufman tries to inoculate Carol, claiming it will remove her irrational emotions. She escapes and goes to Jean's house to find Oliver, only to discover Jean's infected mother. Carol drives recklessly and attracts the attention of infected people who start chasing her. She escapes to a subway station where she boards a train filled with infected passengers. Carol receives a message from Oliver, asking for help. However, she is unable to reply due to poor signal. Infected passengers attack each other on the train, and Carol manages to escape at a station. Desperate to find Oliver, Carol witnesses innocent people being forcibly inoculated by the police. An uninfected cop advises her to flee and indicates that infected people do not sweat. She returns home and finds it empty, leading Carol to believe that Oliver might have been taken by Kaufman. Determined to find her son, Carol sets out on a dangerous journey through the chaotic city, avoiding the infected and searching for any clues that might lead her to Oliver's whereabouts. Along the way, Carol encounters pockets of resistance formed by uninfected individuals who have managed to stay awake and evade the spore's effects. They share information and devise strategies to protect themselves and find a cure for the sleeping sickness. Carol joins forces with them, hoping that together they can rescue Oliver and stop the spread of the spore. During their search, Carol and the resistance group discover a hidden underground laboratory where Kaufman and his team are conducting experiments. They learn that Kaufman is not only trying to find a cure but also using the spore to control and manipulate people's behavior. It becomes clear that Kaufman's intentions are far from benevolent, and he must be stopped at all costs. With the help of the resistance group, Carol infiltrates the laboratory and confronts Kaufman. A tense and thrilling showdown ensues as Carol fights to protect her son and expose Kaufman's true motives to the world. In a dramatic climax, the laboratory is destroyed, and Carol manages to rescue Oliver from Kaufman's clutches. In the aftermath, Carol and Oliver reunite with their loved ones, But the battle against the sleeping sickness is far from over. They join forces with the remaining uninfected individuals and scientists who are dedicated to finding a cure and preventing further outbreaks. Together, they work tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of the spore and develop a solution that can save humanity from its devastating effects. As the movie concludes, there is a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. While the world may never be the same again, Carol and her allies are determined to rebuild and ensure that the horrors they have witnessed will never be repeated. The journey has been arduous, but their resilience and determination will serve as a beacon of hope in the face of a new and dangerous world.